Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we're going to go over the unfortunate news that J-Dub will probably not be ready for opening night and the start of the season. We'll dive into who will start in his place and then kind of who will take advantage of those minutes when J-Dub is out. We'll also talk about the big news about Russell Westbrook going to the Sacramento Kings. And then at the end, we'll talk about a little thing that the OKC mayor is doing for the Thunder. But the big topic of today right now is J-Dub will probably not be ready for opening night on Tuesday against the Houston Rockets. And obviously that's about as big of a blow outside of Shea that you can have for the Thunder not being ready on opening night, especially when you're going up against a team like the Houston Rockets that will be ready to go and really be one of those teams that we are going to contend with all of the season and most likely for seeding and into the playoffs if we match up with them. So that's going to be a big blow. Obviously, they lost out on Fred VanVleet, and now we're not going to have J-Dub ready. So both teams will kind of be hurt in that sense, but obviously J-Dub is a much better player than Fred VanVleet. So it's going to be up to some of these other players to kind of step up in his role for however long he might miss. They said right now J-Dub is shooting at least, and he's starting to do a little bit of contact, but they're not wanting to push it, especially with it being a wrist thing on his shooting hand. You don't want to push that too much and just rush it back and then have another instance where later on, closer to the playoffs, he hurts it once again, but this time it's worse and he can't play through it for the entire playoffs and make a difference for the Thunder. So the big thing will kind of be who will step up in place of J-Dub, because obviously J-Dub is the small forward, so you can kind of look at it in a sense of, will the Thunder want to move Lou Dort down to the 3 and possibly put in Cason Wallace or an Alex Caruso? My guess would be maybe a Cason Wallace, just because Wallace has started more games than Caruso, and Caruso plays better off the bench. Or do you want to keep that bigger lineup and keep Lou Dort at the 3 and just plug in Aaron Wiggins right there? And it's kind of a toss-up between those two. I think for the Rockets, especially with guys like KD, Alperen Sengun, Tari Eason, these guys that are a lot bigger, I would almost consider going Aaron Wiggins to start, because you're going to need those bigger bodies. Obviously, not worried about Cason Wallace and his defensive impact, but he is a smaller guard, so he would be the shortest guy out there on the entire starting core at the beginning of the game. So I think the Thunder should realistically lean towards that Aaron Wiggins, and I think it obviously goes back to who you play. I think if we go up against the Pacers when they're not as big as the Rockets, yeah, if you want to switch back and forth and go to Cason Wallace starting at the 2, then you can do that. But I think especially for opening night, we should see Aaron Wiggins start in this, and I think really it could really prove to a lot of people that he can take that next leap. We've obviously seen him in preseason out there most of the games and really just going off and really being a difference maker. So I think if you're able to plug him in to that starting lineup and really get to play off of Shea and Chet, because now this means that we're going to need that second scorer. Obviously, J-Dub was that second scorer, so somebody's going to have to step up to be that second scorer. Maybe it can be Chet, because we know how good Chet was off the rip, but if we know that Cason Wallace is a more defensive first guy, where Aaron Wiggins would probably lean more towards a scorer before a defender, not saying he's a bad defender, but still, I think Aaron Wiggins can be that secondary scorer. I think easily he could go out there and drop 20 plus in that opening night, especially depending on how the Rockets want to guard Chet, especially knowing if J-Dub's not out there, Chet's going to try to be that secondary scorer. If they can stop him, somebody's going to have to step up. But I can also see the fact of you wanting to keep a little bit more size on the bench, because if you do Aaron Wiggins off on the starting lineup, that means you would have Caruso and Wallace on there. You'll have J-Will. I'm sure J-Will will get out there. And a guy I think now, especially with J-Dub out these opening night, I think Brooks Barnhizer has a major chance to go out there, be that forward that kind of backs up maybe Aaron Wiggins and goes out there and plays high-quality defense. Here in the preseason, he's averaged over 11 points in that. So I think he can take a really big step up. Maybe we see an Usman Django out there and try to prove himself early on this year, and it's going to be very interesting to see. This is a big blow to the Thunder. Obviously, having one of the best 15 players in the world go out and not be ready for opening day is not ideally what you want, but the Thunder are built for this. This is why they're such a deep team. You know that they have guys outside of J-Dub. Shai's obviously going to go out there and do his thing. Maybe we can see that Chet progression that we want to see. If he can be ready, he can go out there and really just go berserk, because early on before he got injured, he was out there scoring 22 and 10 a night. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the Thunder approach this, especially with the starting lineup and how they want to progress that with whether it be Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso, or Aaron Wiggins. But we'll kind of transition into talking about the big news from yesterday, and that is Russell Westbrook signing a deal with the Sacramento Kings. And we were kind of worried that Russ wasn't going to be signed for opening night and be the first time in his career that he wasn't on a team for opening night. But now that the Kings have signed him, this will be, year 18 of Russell Westbrook, which is just crazy to say because I'm 23. So he's been playing my entire life. So to see him out there, I'm sure the Kings are going to get him run. I think he still has a very good chance to go out there with guys like Sabonis. He's obviously played with Sabonis. In the OKC days, he has DeMar DeRozan out there. At the time of this recording, Keegan Murray just got his extension, so that's going to be another guy Russ can play. So I think we should expect Russ to see some playing time, and I think that's kind of what he was looking for. But I think that's a big thing. We always want to see these OKC legends just continue on, and Russ to be able to find a team, and really that's going to allow him to go out there. And I think this could be a very good possibility of come trade deadline. I don't really see the Sacramento Kings trying to compete in the Western Conference with just how deep it is. I think that we could, if Russ is out there playing well as good as he did with Denver, I think you could see a contender, whether it be a Western Conference team that's trying to push to get up in seeding, or maybe an Eastern Conference team out there that is a bit weaker, go after Russ, who might need a backup point guard around that time, or some guard play and some scoring off the bench that Russ can provide. So it's going to be interesting to see how they want to approach it and how Russ will be able to take advantage on a team that will probably not be competing in the West. So it's going to be up to him to really go out there and prove that he still has something left in the tank for maybe a contending team around the trade deadline that wants to take a chance on him, like the Nuggets did last season before they lost to the Thunder. But he can still go out there and provide you some offensive firepower off the bench for you. Well, we'll kind of wrap up this video talking about how the OKC mayor, David Holt, has announced that opening night, so Tuesday, October 21st, is going to be called OKC Thunder Day now across the city. Obviously, we know it's just going to be a big night and a big day for the city all around coming up, because we got the ring ceremony, the championship banner. We're going to start a whole new NBA season, our quest to go back-to-back. So it's going to be really awesome to see how that's going to progress. And we're less than a week away now, and I can't wait to see how they design these rings. I can only imagine how crazy it's going to be, whether it be some thunder blue inside the ring, maybe with the logo and all that. We might see some lightning bolts around it in gold and blue. So there's could be a whole bunch of different possibilities the Thunder want to go with that ring. And then finally being able to raise that championship banner here in just 5 nights will be something that OKC and the OKC community and everybody around for the fans will never forget. So it's going to be an amazing day. We're almost there, people, and it's right around the corner before the 2026 season. But that'll be it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about the J-Dub injury news. I know it's obviously something that you're not wanting to look forward to, but we know that the Thunder are built for injuries and that they can. Obviously, if you lose the first couple games of the season, it's not the total end, but still believe the Thunder can go out there and beat the Rockets. But make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel so much. Just allows everybody to be able to watch it more on YouTube. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.